Welcome back, Sports to the Max. 6:41 is the time. This is an interesting baseball story. This is right in my wheelhouse. These are the kind of stories that I love to tell. It seems they needed some baseball fields for the kids to play on, so how do you go about that? Do you go through the government, try to get a grant, go to the city council, the school, or you can just build one? Russ Mann and his wife Ann decided to do the latter. He joins us now. Russ, how are you tonight?
Super, Mike. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for taking some time. Let's start with the premise of the idea. You're out there by Cambridge, Minnesota.
Yes, you're just south of Isanti,
Yep.
out in the farm country.
Out in the farm country. How many acres do you farm?
I don't farm any, but we're surrounded by thousands of acres of corn and soybeans.
Okay, so you decided maybe the best way to get a ball field built was to build one.
Just to build one. We needed one here in Isanti County desperately. Our kids, the program was growing real fast, and we just didn't have enough fields for the kids for the year.
So take me through step one. What did you decide? You identify land? What happens?
Yes, I had met with our park board in our township, and we had a piece of land behind our town hall, and they asked me to build a ball field. I told them the shortage that was in the area, and they gave me a piece of land right behind the town hall, about an acre and a half of land, and we were just going to start out and build just a regular line ball field, nothing special, and things just kind of exploded after that, and we ended up with one of the nicest little league fields in the state.
What happened? Did everybody kind of jump on? Was this like Tom Sawyer painting a fence and everybody wanted to get involved? What happened?
That's really what it was. People seemed to grasp on the dream of it, and the larger that I made the dream, the people just kept stepping up and helping me, and when I seemed like I would run out of money to do something, there was somebody else giving me a call or sending me a check, and it just kind of exploded, and we ended up with just a beautiful facility. It's just really a field of dreams.
Well, tell me about the financing mechanisms. Did the city say, here's the land you have at, or how did you raise money, or was it step by step? What was the process?
Well, it was kind of twofold. That the township collects rental money from cellular towers that they have on parkland. So they offered kind of some seed money to start out. We applied for every grant in the state. The Minnesota Twins came in with $5,000, Legion clubs, Lions clubs, pancake breakfasts. The money just kept coming in. I'm fortunate to have a lot of friends with deep pockets. So whenever I got in trouble, it seemed like they came and bailed me out. A lot of local businesses, they kind of got behind the dream and had a lot of faith in what I saw was missing in the community. And somehow $160,000 later, we had this field finished. The problem that we had was it was booked solid for the season. There wasn't a day available. It was so popular.
It was pre-booked, as they say, huh?
Yes, it was.
So then what'd you do?
But started dreaming about another ball field. Crazy as that sounds. And that's what we launched, another field. We built another field a little bit larger to accommodate the next group of kids up to 13 years old, and built it bigger and better than the first, and it just has snowballed, and I'm not sure if we're done yet.
How did the second field get financed? Same way?
Same way, and a lot of local businesses and a lot of Great River Energy and Connexus Energy and a lot of the people that have helped us in the past really stepped in a major way, and the money just kept coming in. Where we finished our second field, our opening day was last Saturday with a state-sanctioned tournament, which are very rare, and we hosted teams from all over the state. And we're just awaiting, we're going to be putting stadium lights in July, which will finish that project. And we're just really excited. This is home to hundreds and hundreds of teams. We're just really excited to launch this again. So,
what is your background? Are you a baseball fan, player? Did you grow up playing, or what got your passion for this?
Yep, I grew up in a little town of Cass Lake, Minnesota.
Sure.
And it was a passion of my brother and I. My dad was a big baseball guy. It just seemed like my dad and I could talk baseball year round, and I wasn't as great as these AAA players that I have play here, but I still had the passion that I grew up listening to the radio, WCCO, to Harmon Killebrew and Rod Carew, Tony Oliva. That's my grandfather and I listened to Twins baseball all the time, and it just has always been a passion. My son played Little League baseball, was an incredible first baseman, and once he moved on to college, it just never got out of my wife and our passion. We just always kept it with us, and the kids that we have out here, we have hundreds of kids here that are, they show you how grateful they are that you provide a beautiful facility for them. So,
how much did the private sector get involved? I mean, you said you tapped into some of those people with deep pockets that you knew. Did you lean on them a lot?
I leaned on them a lot, and they started telling me they would watch their caller ID after a little while. So
I get that same reaction as a reporter, by the way.
And so I knew that I always told them to give till it hurts, and so that's what they always kind of joked with me. But a lot of people really understood that I wasn't calling them for any selfish thing for myself. When you see how this elevates the kids, when they walk out on this Little League field, they have sunken dugouts, stadium lighting, grass infield. This is like a collegiate style field, and the kids come out here, I swear they grow about a foot taller the moment they step out here. It's incredible.
And so, what is it like to construct a field? Is that difficult? It seems easy when you look at a ballpark. It seems like you just cut it out of some acreage and whatnot. But there's a lot that goes into that in terms of the dirt, the lines, everything. Making sure that you're how far to the backstop, how far to center field. Tell me about the process, the architectural process of building a baseball field.
Well, it's quite a bit of work. What I did with the first field was I brought in people that were experts at what they did. I brought in sod people, I brought in construction people, irrigation people, I brought in baseball people, and I said, this is what I want to do. I'll be the first one to tell you that I don't know all of what you do, and I tapped from all the people. I tapped from other ball fields, problems that they had, and we just started out with surveying out, mapping out the field, which is quite a bit of work to get everything exact.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of painstaking work, and there's a little bit of science to it with the soil and the sod and the lime, and it's just something I accept those kind of challenges. I thrive on the difficult like that. So and I've had a lot of friends that have helped me along the line. Steve Belfany, who's like an older brother to me, he's a sod expert, and I've tapped into all his expertise, and we put it together, and sometimes it gets a little painful, but the end result is fantastic.
Yeah, I'll give you an example of how things can go askew. There's a nice ballpark here in town, I won't say where, but when they measured the field, they built the field, they found out that center field was like 280 feet. Well, no one would have 280-foot center field. Well, somebody had measured from where the backstop to center field, which would have been 340 feet or whatever. It would have been a legitimate, or at least, high school-wise legitimate in terms of length. Well, they hadn't measured from home plate. Well, that little confusion has cost them a lot of tournaments and a lot of opportunities because the field's not where it should be. And so there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into that. What was the most fun part of the process?
I think opening days are always the fun part. And then I think laying the sod at the very end. It's, they bring in 5 semi-loads of sod, almost 4,000 rolls of sod, and it scares the daylights out of you when you see the trucks coming. But in a half a day, all of a sudden the sod is down, and it's an instant field, and you're just ready to go. You're just waiting for it to root and be ready to go. And then opening day, it's always exciting. So I don't believe I'm done yet. I think there's more to this.
You think you got another field in you?
Another field, or my wife and I are actually looking at possibly building a super field house, an indoor facility. I think it would be, especially the spring that we've had this year.
Yeah.
We definitely could use a facility like that to get these young people in practicing maybe after Christmas and just start batting practice and indoor fielding. But it takes quite a large building for that.
So you're talking about a field house just for baseball or baseball and softball?
Baseball, softball, volleyball, tennis. The football field can practice. Football teams can practice. Something where we can get everybody inside, depending on the season that they're dealing with. So
you're talking about putting some turf in a big building, right?
Yep, turf or a rubber floor. Or my wife and I are just researching this part of it, but it's passionate of hers, and she's been behind all this, and I've spent a lot of days without her, so she's just as important with this whole process.
Who are you going to tap into for that one? Same people?
What's that? Who
are you going to tap into for that one to finance it? Same people?
Same people and some private things. We've been blessed, my wife and I, a lot, and our big thing is sponsoring kids. We generally sponsor a couple dozen kids that don't have money to play for the season. That's our big passion, is that none of these kids are left out. If they don't have the money to play baseball, we have to find a way that we get them out on the field and get them out of the house.
Yes. That tugs at my heartstrings to hear, because I think people would be surprised economically. And I know I've talked to different people that have run associations, and they say you'd be surprised how many people at the end of the year still haven't paid what you think are nominal dues sometimes.
Yeah.
But because there's pride and whatnot, nobody wants to admit that they're struggling financially, or their kids aren't participating, and they come up with an excuse. But the real reason is they just don't have the money to spend, and people aren't even aware of it.
Yeah, and we thoroughly believe, our kids are 8 to 13 that play in our facility, and we thoroughly believe you need to spend the money here with these kids now, because it's better that they're here with their team and their coaches and getting some good exercise. We need to fight as much obesity as we can in children today, and baseball and football and all these sports are great for them. So, but there's nothing more humiliating than not having the money. How do you tell that to your friends when you don't have the money to play baseball or football? You do just like you said, Mike. You make up excuses why you don't.
And that's the problem, is that there are a lot of people like yourself and others that would step forward and help finance that for a kid. But sometimes you end up making up excuses because you don't want anybody to breathe a word of it, or any thought that it could get out there, and the embarrassment that goes with it. And when you hear those stories from time to time, boy, it just, there's a whole bunch of people that would be willing to give a whole bunch of money to make sure kids can participate. They just need to know.
They just need to know, and we're starting a program here in Isanti County. We just started about a year ago, and again, I tap into my friends, and they all understand what it's about, and just, the more of these kids that you can put out here, the greater. You watch them play this game, and they're goofing around, and they're having fun, and they're falling in the soft grass, and they're not at home watching television or on the internet. They're out here working hard and playing hard, and learning how to win, learning how to lose, the entire gamut, and we really think it's important, and it's just become a lifetime passionate for my wife Ann and I, and a lot of our friends. We're so fortunate to have some of the friends that back us, without any question.
Yep.
They know something we're going to do. They're there financially or help us physically do work, and we're really blessed that way.
Russ, I really appreciate what you're doing out there. I appreciate you giving us some time tonight. And, boy, you're a role model. Keep telling the story and keep doing what you're doing. And, keep tapping into people, because there's a whole lot of us that are willing to give for the right causes, and this is the right cause.
Thank you very much, Mike.
You bet. Russ Mann. He's building it, and they're coming up there by Cambridge, Minnesota.